Hello.
All the fucking audio is on. It's on.
Is it on?
I swear,
No.
it is fucking on.
Is it on? Let's check that because
No,
I love you.
I know
But
it's
we've
on.
learned this.
It's on.
I love you.
Book
but
of
you can't
Boba has
trust
broke
me.
our curse. At least the last 2 episodes, it's broke our curse. No, it's on. I hear it. We're good. We're good. It's fine. Everything's fine.
How are you?
How are you? I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready for tomorrow at the crack of fucking dawn when I'm gonna watch this episode because I can't be no sleep tonight. But
No, I plan to sleep tonight.
I mean, I'm going to sleep, but
I plan to sleep shortly.
are we just gonna go right into into it?
We should go right fucking into it because we were. I don't want to say we were on the fence with episode 1, but we all kind of agreed. We're like, why is this like a half episode, right?
It definitely felt like this was the other half.
Yeah, episode 2 was the payoff part, I think. So, I fucking loved it. I thought it was great.
Yep.
So I'm fucking psyched to see what's gonna happen tomorrow. We got a lot of fucking little Easter eggs and cool shit last episode. None of my theories really played out, but that's fine. I'm not hurt about anything.
It's fine. I'm not hurt.
I'm not hurt. I'm not offended.
Not bothered.
No. So the down and dirty of it is we got the first half of that episode, which it was what 52 minutes long. So it was almost twice as long as the first episode.
Yeah.
Could be the longest episode of the season.
Yeah. So
Which a premiere should be, because that should have been the premiere.
they should have had the 2 episodes together,
Yep.
but they
They
want to
should've.
stretch it. They want to stretch it out, you know.
That is such a dumb reason to put out a shitty first episode.
That was a prologue. It wasn't even an episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a good prologue.
But the second one paid off. You know, I think a lot of the people that were kind of on the fence about the first one are now more on board. I mean, I still know some people that are like, meh, but I got into a huge fight with my husband about it. I mean, like, he likes it, but he's basically like, movie Boba, like, Boba before this show is nothing like Boba on this show. I'm like, he had 6 minutes of fucking screen time in the original trilogy, so what are you fucking talking about? How do you know who he was? How do you know who he was?
That has really always been my biggest thing about Boba Fett is that, you know, once you start to be like, well, canon Boba Fett, I'm like, bitch, my canon Boba Fett is Robot Chicken Boba Fett. That is...
Back from the dead, assholes!
Well, everyone's like, oh, they're making Boba a good guy, and I'm like, well, I mean, not exactly, but like, how do you know he was a bad guy? And my husband's argument was, well, he worked for Darth Vader and he did all this shit. I'm like, he was a bounty hunter. So was Din. He worked for Imperials. He did all sorts of shit. Why is Din Djarin a good guy and Boba Fett not? They both were fucking bounty hunters.
I think this is a good example of how Mayfeld's talk with Din sort of plays in, and it can play in the same with Boba Fett. Like, they have this code or this thing that they're tied to until they need to stretch those limits to do what they need to do, basically, you know.
Yeah, but like, my husband was all like, well, you know, like Din, you know, save Grogu and all that stuff. I'm like, well, you never saw Boba in the original trilogy go after any fucking kids. The only person you saw him go after in the original trilogy is Han, who is a smuggler of spice.
And, like, kind of a scumbag.
Yeah.
Like...
You kind of saw
like,
he's a scoundrel.
Scoundrel.
So going after him doesn't make Boba a default bad guy. So, I mean, in some of the comics that are in the canon line of comics, he does just murk some fucking people. Rhodians mostly, but what did we decide about Rhodians? They're all fucking assholes.
Anakin's friend isn't an asshole.
That's a kid, though.
Yes.
When they're kids, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know.
He totally is.
Actually,
He makes fun of
100% patronizes Anakin.
Yeah, totally makes fun of Anakin.
You're
Like,
such a
you're never
joker,
gonna get
Annie.
That's
Father
true.
to work. Yep.
He,
Yep.
he really was kind of shitty to Anakin. He didn't believe in Anakin. He wasn't supportive.
He's like the Foggy of the.
A planet of assholes.
But
You just don't understand their culture.
I mean, listen, if they start to do like a Tuscan like version for Rhodians that redeems them as a fucking alien
God.
species, then cool. I'm on board for that. Let's see.
That redeems their whole species.
I mean, that's what I mean. Who fucking knew the Tuscans were this fucking cool until these shows?
They were pretty cool in KOTOR.
I mean, okay.
They can't do that for Weequays, so
They've got Hondo.
the only good Weequay.
That doesn't matter though. He's the ambassador for their species. So
Is
good.
Bartender Weequay a good Weequay, Steve?
Yeah, actually, he was cool.
Nope. There is one good Weequay, and it's Hondo Onaka.
So are we, when we say good, we mean like good, like enjoyable, or good, like on an alignment?
Does Steve hate them or not? Is what we're
Yes.
talking
I
Okay.
mean, Hondo is definitely not good on the alignment.
I know.
scale
That's why I
either,
was
so-
like checking with this.
Wait, he's not?
Nah,
No.
he's kind of chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the definition of that.
I agree. I was joking.
But yeah, like even if we want to go into Clone Wars Boba, he still had like lines he wouldn't cross, even as a kid.
Was real uncomfortable with some of the stuff Aura Singh was doing.
Yeah. So to me, like we've never established that he was just an all around shitty person. It doesn't really show that anywhere in canon. So to me, this isn't like a face
Even
turn.
if he was, even if that argument was valid,
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, he got humbled. Dude almost died. He fell in the Sarlacc.
Yes. He had like everything taken from him.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, this isn't the Boba Fett I expected." Like, okay, like he can still be badass, like bounty hunter fighter dude when he needs to be. Like, it doesn't
And he
negate
was.
the development.
He went into Tashi Station and fucking wrecked face with that fucking biker gang or speeder gang, swoop gang. It was like the Sons of Tatooine up in there, and he fucking won on. How many of them were there? 6, 7. He
At least
all of them. So he's a fucking badass as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think this is a case of people who have spent 40 years projecting their own like hyper aggressive, badass, edgelord personas onto a literal blank slate?
I think there are levels to that.
It's
Like,
not
we know
everybody.
so many. Specifically like this podcast, like us all being Mandalorian costumers, we know so many different people who love Boba Fett or have like different levels of love for Boba Fett. So I feel like there is that hyper like side of that online that like has assigned certain traits to Boba Fett that aren't necessarily true. But I definitely think there's levels to it. Like,
Yeah.
I would agree. And I actually think the people who are, I base this partly on, I haven't seen anybody upset about Boba's character. I've seen people nothing but excited. So that's just the circles that I'm running in.
Yep.
And so really what I'm basing this off of is the people who are complaining. I'm guessing they're not involved in the fandom.
Not so much, no.
Not in the, not as much.
Or
I've seen a
they're
lot of-
it's
Sorry, go ahead.
not that involved in the fandom, or people who are super involved only in the Boba Fett side of the fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you only spend your time on the dented helmet, for example.
Oh, I would never go. That place is.
That's a hive and scum and villainy over there for realsies. All right. So, first half of this episode, present timeline. We got the Assassin of the Black Wind, which I love Fennec's like whole like non-plus, not impressed. Like you pay for that, you're paying for their name. They kind of suck. Like that her snootiness about
That
it.
was
I
a
fucking love
great
that.
line.
She
Yeah.
is an assassin.
I know. I fucking love that. That's like pretty much every character I've ever played in like in RPGs. So I felt kinship with her there. Like that was amazing. I love that. But so not Crimson Dawn, I guess. And then they take it before the mayor, who I think was so fucking well done. I thought the Ithorian was so cool. Like he was like looked amazing, and I guess it was a practical. It was not CGI.
Oh, he was good.
Hearing the Ithorian language layered over with basic was super cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I thought it was really neat touch.
I can't get a read on him.
Yeah.
And it seems like Boba can't either.
Right.
But I can't get a read on him. Like from what's gone on, like I'm not sure if he's just playing like I'm the mayor who I have to abide by whatever's gonna happen here, or if he's got a bigger thing going on.
He said that the assassins of the Black Wind are not allowed to operate outside of Hutt space. So they're saying that Tatooine is not part of Hutt space.
I don't think it ever was.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, Jabba was on the Hutt Council. In fact, he was the entire fucking council after Vader, killed them all. He was the only one left, right? So, in theory, the planet kind of, by default, was under it. But...
maybe.
I don't think technically the Tatooine falls into what's considered Hutt space.
Maybe, but
I think they typically mean Nal Hutta and its system.
Like that system, yeah. That could
canonically, Hutt space is the Doran system, Toydaria,
Nar Shaddaa,
Zircon, Nal Hutta, and Dandoran.
Yeah.
There you go.
But
also, if you want to convince them... No, go ahead. Sorry.
If the twins are claiming, dominion over it, would it not become part of Hutt space? I don't know. I guess not. It's a weird situation.
Yeah. Also, if you want to convince somebody that you didn't hire the assassin, you can just kill the assassin in front of them and try and convince them that.
That is really effective.
I mean, yeah.
To be fair,
the assassin failed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't get a read on him, but I did really like him.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was real cool. And then he sends Boba back to the sanctuary to Madame Garza. And I don't know if you noticed, but when he first episode she calls him Lord Fett, but in this episode she calls him Mr. Fett. I mean, I don't know if that's just whatever, or if that was purposely done.
Maybe because she already knows that the Hutts are back, and
she knew the twins were coming. I bet.
And so she's already kind of hedging her bets. It seems, right? So.
Yeah.
And then you have to wonder, did they not stake their claim over Tatooine after Jabba died because they were busy dealing with, he was the top of the food chain for the Hutts since there was no more council at that point. So were all the Hutts fighting over who takes over? Or is it because Bib Fortuna was basically just their puppet on planet, so they didn't need to be there? So...
I got the impression it was just they didn't have time for it yet.
Yeah, maybe. It's just real convenient that now they decided he took over a week ago, and now they have time suddenly.
Yeah.
More of a threat than Bib was. There's we can just let him be there.
Yeah.
I think they knew Bib wouldn't. If they told Bib what to do, he would do it.
Yeah.
Just to go along with it, because Bib. Bib was cool with having just that amount of power, whereas Boba was no, this is mine now,
right.
I'm feeling like there's going to be a long game that Boba put himself in a position of power to help his Tusken friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like that's what makes the most sense for why does Boba Fett want to be the daimyo of Tatooine.
Me too. I think that's where they're going. And then I really like, though, when they brought out the twins on the fucking litter. I was laughing at first because I was holy
great.
Shit.
They looked great. Now, that was CGI. They looked great.
Apparently, when they filmed the scenes, they had cardboard cutouts up so they could, they had a reference of where to look and stuff. But I just like the idea that these fucking ridiculously huge things, and there's two of them, are forcing, 10 guys to carry them around on a litter. And then he wipes his face with a fucking animal.
Yep.
Which is, if it is what I think it is, and I forgot the name of it right now, but they're sentient. They're not
it's from
just
Legend.
Yeah, they're not just little creature. Like, they're sentient beings. And he's sitting here mopping his face with that shit. I'm like, oh my god. And then the sister with the little fan.
Hold on, you're not mentioning the best part of this scene.
Well,
The absolute unit that shows up.
Black Chrysanthemum. I mean, he deserves his own, like, 10, 15 minutes. I don't know however long we want to fucking rave about him. Because when he fucking showed up.
Wants to rave about him.
Dude, I was on Black Chrysanthemum Stan thirsty TikTok for a while. Of course, now it's council TikTok. Oh my god, get me off it. Anyway, but I was super psyched because this is the first character I think we've seen purely from the comics become a character in like media.
I wanted to do research on that yesterday because I was like, hey, this would be an interesting thing to know. Because like off the top of my head, I couldn't think of another character that debuted in the comics that made it into live action, but I don't know the comics well enough to give it a
Cobb Vanth is really the only other character that's come from like books or whatever and made it there. But from the comics, at least from the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, as far as I know, Black Chrysanthemum's the only one that's made that transition. So now people are like, oh, we're gonna see Afra and all this other stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
It would be cool if we saw Afra.
She is in War of the Bounty Hunters. Basically, I feel like anybody who was in the War of the Bounty Hunters comic is fair game. like it would make sense for them to show up at this point, but we'll see.
He looks so cool. He looks so good.
He is menacing as fuck. Like, he gave Boba this fucking look, like this look.
Boba throwing shade, too.
It's like, holy shit. Yeah, and they work together. I guess.
Yeah, but like, that specific line is about like Black Chrysanthemum like sneaking up on a sleeping Trandoshan guard. Like, that was fucking good.
Yeah. And sadly, like, if you didn't read the comics and you don't know much about this character, that probably just went like right over your head. But it was such a throw down. So
he does have his scar too. It's just much more not hidden,
it's
but
like
it looks
faint.
like some of his hair has grown back in a little bit. The scar is there because he has a scar over his eye that he got from Kenobi.
Yep. So if we see a
That's
flashback
cool.
of that in Kenobi, that'd be cool. I mean, we don't fucking know what's gonna happen in that show, but
He's gonna sit in the desert for 6 episodes. And
No, the funniest tweet I saw all week is, man, it's gonna be batshit crazy when the Kenobi show spends less time on Tatooine than Boba Fett.
True facts. It could happen. I expect it to be a show where he's just sitting there reminiscing about his life, and it's just flashbacks of all these different things like that happened in his life. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure that's gonna happen. But yeah, fucking Santi is so fucking cool. I'm pretty sure they didn't pull him out just to be there for 5 seconds. We're gonna see a showdown at some point, and that's gonna be really fucking cool.
I want him. I would prefer him and Boba to team back up. I don't want him to. I don't want him to fight Boba.
We'll see. I mean, the Trandoshans did give Boba a Wookiee pelt in the first episode.
Oh, speaking of Trandoshans, why do they all look so weird? It's been one of my like few complaints about this show. Like, they all look really weird.
Because we got the Bosk type Trandoshans, we've got these type Trandoshans, we have the Mandalorian series type Trandoshans. They're just different types.
They all different subspecies. Like these ones just look like. You remember the puppets from Loki?
Yeah.
Like the puppets were like the people that were behind the scenes or whatever. Like the Trandoshans kind of look like that.
That's
and I'm
true.
like,
They're crossing the streams here. That's the
thing, but they just look weird. Anyways.
Well, that was cool, and then he goes back in the fucking Bacta tank for more flashback time.
I almost wish we had gotten like a present time episode and then a flashback episode, and then maybe start blending the two storylines, because I feel like that was part of the issue with the first episode, is neither like felt completed as an episode.
Yeah. I think they're kind of doing it this way to kind of give you the slow burn as to what his motivations are and why he is doing things the way he is.
Yeah, I just don't think they're executing it very well.
Yeah. That's
Like,
a fair
and even
critique.
just
I
the
think we would-
tone. What were you saying, Joe?
No, yeah, I think we would all say that we really enjoyed the second episode, like a ton. But all of us are like ready for some current timeline stuff to
Yeah.
happen.
I
Yeah.
need more current timeline stuff.
Yeah.
I think we're slowing down on how much flashbacks we're gonna see.
Well,
I mean,
and
we're
even
even
just-
to see more, but not as much, maybe.
The way that they utilize the flashbacks too, it really just does feel like it was 2 different episodes.
Yeah, it was like, okay, like first, like what, 8 to 10 minutes was the present, and then you got 40 minutes of flashback, and it was like, this is weird. Like, it ended up being great, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, that was really cool. But it was just like, yeah, like as far as like a device, like it's just like, oh, this is kind of odd the way they did this.
Yeah. But it was cool. Holy shit. I fucking
Yeah, it was.
love the Tuscan scenes this time. Like, I
Sounds
love
like
it.
an
Yeah.
old-fashioned train job.
Yeah, it was very Lawrence of Arabia, that part. If you've ever seen that movie, it totally gave me those vibes. But like we went to Tashi Station, we saw him training with the warrior. I mean, that's what I'm just gonna call her because I guess that's what she's called. I don't have a
They
good
brought
name for her.
They brought in the Pikes and 5
Yeah.
years over our present timeline stuff.
Oh, this was our other gripe about this episode. Why do they need trains to move shit on this planet? Why can't they just fly shit on starships back and
There
forth?
is no authority on Tatooine telling them that they can't bring spice in. But
I mean, other than why it's cool to have a fucking train heist like scene like that. It's
the
fucking
only
cool.
thing,
Maybe
that
there wasn't
I
a
came
place
up-
to land a ship wherever they were going.
the only thing I can come up with is they're afraid to like haul it from port to port or city to city because maybe they're afraid the other syndicates will hit it at the port. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, when
It-
Jabba goes down, there's this huge power vacuum there. You have to assume because the Hutt, he was the fucking Hutt council at that point. So Hutt crime family is like out of commission right after Return of the Jedi for a minute. They're busy doing whatever the fuck they're doing. So you have the Pikes, the Black Sun, and Crimson Dawn probably is the main factions fighting it out. But why does everybody want Tatooine? It seems kind of like a shithole. I don't know.
I don't know.
what's
It's very nitpicky. The ultimate reason is the Tuscans needed a foil and they needed to learn how to ride swift bikes. And a fucking train scene is cool, so that's why.
It was
That was
fucking
the-
cool. It was. Seeing what the Pikes looked like under their helmet was kind of...
Yeah.
It was a little jarring at first, because that's not what I expected.
I saw a lot of people complaining that they look different in every form of media they've been in.
They look just like
But,
Solo.
The concept art for Solo, which you don't see him demasked in Solo, but the concept art had a version of that for Solo, and that's exactly what they used for
I mean,
this.
and their masked versions look just like Solo.
Yeah.
In Clone Wars,
It's
in the
It's
cartoons,
the
they look
Clone Wars,
different.
They're like very, yeah.
They have a bigger head thing going on. I always envisioned that they were kind of insectoid for some reason. That was just like my
A little more fishy looking than expected.
yeah, like more aquatic. I was not expecting that at all. I don't know, but they look cool. I liked it. I mean, the whole fucking scene where Boba's talking to the leader and he's like, "What is spice? What does it look like?" And then it just is like, "Yeah, this is looking pretty bad for you, buddy." I thought that was a great scene. I don't know.
Also, I noticed that we were discussing. Okay, so the lizard scene. We haven't gotten to this yet.
Oh yeah.
But we were discussing. We thought that they might have flicked spice in his face.
Yeah.
It's not spice.
No.
It's So they have the black melons that they drink from,
Mm-hmm.
but also there's those other weird ones that like shoot that stuff out. That's in Mandalorian a lot.
Yeah.
It looks like more like a substance than it does like water or milk.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's that. He takes that
Oh.
out of one of the other black melons and flicks it. It's almost like so the lizard will chase it.
That would make
That's
sense.
what it looked like to me when I rewatched it.
I just really like consensual drug trips are not okay. You need to like
He accepted
He-
the gift.
He
you
did
need
accept it.
informed consent. It's called informed consent.
Yo,
Look,
I'm down for
he
crazy
thought-
lizard peyote.
He
Yeah.
thought he was getting a Disney princess side character buddy.
He did, which his reaction to it was great.
He's like a lizard. Let
thank
it
you.
guide me.
I will let it go.
He agreed to it. He said he'd let it guide him.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I'm disappointed. I thought Boba was gonna have a lizard on his shoulder the rest of this fucking show.
That was
And then
so
it was
fucking
gonna
great.
grow up and be a crate dragon. Like,
Yeah.
and then he was gonna ride that bitch around. I mean, that's what I thought was gonna happen.
It was actually a baby mythosaur this whole
Fucking
time.
lizard, like popping his head out of like Boba's chest lights. Like, oh, that'd have been great, man.
You know, if Boba was going to have an animal companion, I would want it to be a lizard. It's
Yeah,
It would
You
make
missed
sense.
out.
It
it was
But
really
no,
cool though.
I
The dream
that-
scene was.
was
Then we
really
just got to-
cool. Oh, it's a cat. I'm like, what the fuck? A lot of people are saying when the dream sequence happens. Well, first of all, when he's walking and you get like the flashes of him in his armor and then him walking in his turn state, I thought that was really well done. It looked really fucking cool. But then he gets to the tree and they see all the water. And people are like, yeah, he's getting visions of what Tatooine used to look like when it was an ocean. And I don't think that was
I got
what
the
it
sense
was.
that he was Camino.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, it was like, because he had those flashbacks of Camino at the same time. So I felt like it was all kind of like, this is his past. Like, stuff from his past was coming up because it was the Sarlacc, it was Camino. Like, all the traumatic shit that's happened to him, basically. That's what I got out of the vision part. I don't know. I didn't think it was, he's seeing what Tatooine was like when it was an ocean. That's not the vibe I got. I don't know.
My first instinct was Camino, just because that's what I think when I think about the Fets. But then the more I thought about it, I thought it was the Tatooine. I thought they were showing, because he was going to get the stick, to make his gaffy. I thought they were trying to show you a little bit of dried up Tatooine.
Yeah, but
because we know Tuskens have been there before then, and like they even discussed it a little bit.
right.
I think it could be both. It could be
I'm
both.
still leaning towards Camino because I feel like the texture of the water and the way that it moved felt distinctly like Camino.
Yeah,
like the storm.
And the color, like the color of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's fucking cool that he had this whole fucking crazy hallucination of a tree and he came out with a fucking stick. So clearly that tree
I wasn't
exists.
Get that stick. Where the fuck did that stick come from?
He wandered off into the desert. The lizard guided him to a tree. He grabbed a stick and came back.
The perfect size stick.
They just let him walk off high as fuck into the sands.
It was like a little bit like not just like a trip. It was like an initiation.
Yeah, it was like a coming of age / initiation kind of ritual. Like it was really cool. I loved it.
I bet some of them, like some of the background characters, just had bets on whether or not he'd actually make it back.
I think they did.
Because I feel like there are some people who just don't come back.
It's like, yeah, because like when their reaction when
Presumably.
they see him come back is kind of like they're like, oh shit, he fucking made it. Like that was kind of what I got from their
They're
body
fucking
language.
Fucking betting black melons on whether he's fucking coming back or not.
Yeah.
The scene particularly where it's young Boba and he's watching Slave One fly away on Camino was fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, it just makes it better that it's not actually Daniel Logan. So
They just like de-aged Daniel Logan and had him stand on his knees.
Man, every time I fucking see Camino now after Bad Batch, it just makes me sad. Like,
Oh.
Camino. But we see him get back. They fucking dress him up in black. And for all the people who hate his fucking black jumpsuit now, his flight suit, fuck you. It looks fucking awesome and it has significance. So,
To be
fucking get
fair,
it.
Fan of the
the
black
version
jumpsuit.
in Boba looks way better than the version from Mando.
Yes.
Yeah, well, because now he's fitted, he's cleaned up. Like, Boba Mando was basically, he was wearing his whole Tusken getup and he just threw his fucking vest
I feel like
over it.
now he has like pieces of it still that like
Mhm.
represent that. He's like, hey, I got some really cool pants now instead.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's got a really cool like rib detail on the like right below the knee on his
Yeah, I
above
love those pants. Those pants look cool as shit. So, I dig it, and I like the whole they show him how to carve his own gaffy stick. It's not done for him, that kind of thing.
That was cool.
Makes it
Oh, and
sentimental.
that scene, that picture, like when they are showing it to him, was like straight out of a Ralph McQuarrie drawing, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
When the banthas were dog-sized.
Can we hit Easter eggs now? Because I got a bunch.
Well,
no.
we're almost done. We're almost done. And then the last fucking
Okay.
scene gave me fucking chills, and I fucking loved it. But it was that dance, the ritual dance around the circle, like
Tuscan Haka.
Yeah. Yep.
It was I have a Facebook friend who I believe is Cherokee, and she was saying that it was very similar. Me trying to find out the right terminology. But yeah, she was super thrilled by the episode.
Yeah.
And just Indigenous representation, which is so awesome to
Absolutely.
know that there's people that that matters big time too. Like, it's important, but also like getting to watch people see themselves in Star Wars and be like, that's they're doing it.
I fucking love it. Of course, this whole episode, man, basically is just setting us up for heartbreak, I think.
I feel like it could go two ways. It's either going to set you up for a ton of heartbreak with that tribe, or at the end, he's going to have a legion of fucking Tuskens.
Yeah.
To come.
Or it could be both. That particular tribe could end up something happening to him, and then he still is able to rally the rest of the Tusken tribes in the end. But
something one of our friends pointed out in one of our group chats, BOBA basically sets it up where the Pikes have to pay a toll to the Tuskens. And if you noticed in Mando, Din mentions them paying the toll to the Tuskens. So that's, a whole 5 years later that they're still paying. But that's really cool to see. Like,
I feel like that would imply that those are the same Tuskens that have the control of that area then.
I mean, or it just spread through the whole culture.
That.
Because the Dune Sea is huge. And that's not a huge tribe of Tuskens that he's with. Like, it's a pretty small group, I think.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I've always had the vibe that Tuskens live in like small family groups.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And aren't like a larger, like I would imagine those family groups have their own individual cultures to a certain extent.
Sure, yeah.
The group that Din and Cobb Vanth run into are in like the more tan garb,
Right.
And it's a small group still, but when they pan out, like you see, remember, like there's a scene where he's the one's brushing the Bantha's teeth or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that
there's a
scene.
decent amount of them, like 20 to 30 maybe.
And in Attack of the Clones, I'm pretty sure like the group that Anakin slaughters is pretty big comparatively.
It's probably like your top ends, maybe like 25 to 30-ish, somewhere there. Your top. Easter eggs.
Okay, go forth.
Okay, there's some really obvious ones, but the one that jumped out to me that I like wrote down on my phone to bring up was, this is so obscure, but in the sanctuary, I don't know if everybody else does this, but I pause those sanctuary scenes just because I want to look at everything in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when he looks, I think it's either when he looks to hear the drum beat coming or when he looks back from that, like there's a yak face sitting at the table.
Oh, really? I missed the yak face, and I was looking all for aliens. That's
is it yak face? Yeah, maybe I had that wrong. I think I'm saying the wrong name. It's not a yak face.
No,
it's the one that's either red or blue.
Deveronian?
Deveronian?
Yes, maybe. Now I feel
Devil-looking dude.
The blue one's like Cad Bane?
No.
Deveronian, with the horns?
No, like their clothing is either blue or red. Now I feel stupid. Because I totally thought it was yak face, and now I'm thinking about what a yak face looks like.
I mean, the yak face looks like a yak. But,
looks like a yak.
That's why it's a yak face.
No, that's not yak face. Yeah, he's not yak face. Okay, hold on. You guys go on. Now I have to figure this out.
Well, you had the floor. You're telling us the Easter eggs.
Yeah, no.
That's the one I wanted to go with, and now
But
Star Wars fan. This is awful.
I liked that because I always watch everything with the subtitles because kids
Yes.
are always
Oh, yeah.
screaming and I always miss things if I don't. But I like that when they walk into the sanctuary this time, it says fusion music plays. So it's fusion jizz. That is the type of jizz.
Yeah, Jizz Fusion.
Jizz fusion. And I also love when the drum beats start, the music stops, and then like the subtitle. I need to get a screenshot of it, but it basically is like music stops, and I'm that's gonna be like my new meme for like when shit's going down in a thread, like music stops. Fucking, that was cool. When they go out to the street, when the huts are out there, there's some kind of alien that looks like the thing from the Suicide Squad, the weasel, wearing a bikini.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was something. That
Bikini
was...
werewolf.
Like I was like,
Why
what
are
the
we?
fuck
Why
is
do we have bikini werewolves?
Werewolf in a fucking gold bikini.
Okay,
That was.
I figured it out. Sorry.
What is it?
It's a snaggletooth.
Oh, a snaggletooth.
Yes, it's a blue snaggletooth. But I remember back in the day, there were either blue ones or there were super rare action figures of red ones. And then a couple years back, they made Funkos of it, and it was the same deal.
Oh,
Like,
I think I know what you're talking about. Of
like one
course.
of every 30 they made was a red one instead of a blue one, or the blue one instead of a red one. Yeah, yeah. But there's a snaggletooth,
Got it.
and I don't know why I thought that was a yak face, but I knew what it was when I saw it because I know
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I always see the old action figure.
Oh, I see now. Yeah, I did see him. I did catch that one. I was like that.
James Watching this, he's messaging me now. I don't know the name of the one, but yeah, it's a snaggletooth.
That's cool.
Got it.
Blue snaggletooth is like the more famous.
I love
Sutton.
all the fucking aliens that they
I feel-
are showing in this show. By the way, I love that.
Me too.
Yes, it feels so much more, and obviously it's going to feel more OT because of where it's set in the timeline. But
I feel like one of the reasons these shows have felt more OT than anything else, though, is the use of those practical effects and the old aliens.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I really missed from the sequels was, okay, bring in some new aliens, that's fine. But also, pepper a Twi'lek in here and there.
I know.
Anything like an Ithorian, a like anything.
That was my biggest gripe with Canto Bite, by the way.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
like
Same. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Does the prequels use? Like, I feel like the prequels also used a lot of different aliens as well. I don't.
absolutely.
But a lot of old
Yeah.
ones, too.
Yeah, mixed in old and created new, and like the sequels were just like all
Like, Watto is from the prequels. Toydarians didn't exist before then, but we also got, like, the entire Senate scene, you get new and old.
Yeah.
What are some of the old? Because I don't remember very many old ones in.
Well, like
the prequels.
like Palpatine's advisor, which I thought was a weird
Awesome,
Twi'lek,
Beta.
but he isn't. He's with the horns and stuff.
He's a
Like, so
Chakrian.
he,
Chakrian.
yeah. So he's in both.
Rhodian.
Rhodians. We
Rhodian.
got
Aqualish.
Ithorians.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. I feel like if you made it like you counted, I don't feel like the prequels had more OT aliens than the sequels did.
The sequels had none.
Well, I mean, and then
Sequels had some.
the prequels had
Barely.
like we had huts. Like, think about Phantom Menace when they went to Tatooine. We basically saw all the usual suspects.
Yeah,
there.
it was just still though with his then girlfriend.
So I mean, that it was a good amount, but like the sequels, I mean, they basically introduced a whole bunch of new ones and didn't really show us any old ones for the most
can't-
part.
Yeah, I mean, there's the ones they did show. Like, they did show some, but I feel like they were characters. Like, shit, what's his name? It's a trap.
Oh yeah,
Akbar.
Oh my god, Mon Calamari.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that was like the only one.
I
And
think
they
I'll go watch.
And then they kill him off.
And then
Totally.
they kill up. Yeah.
in a garbage way. All right, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Nope, we're not. But we're happy to see OT aliens
Always.
in.
Yes. I think also too, it helps the volume. Like, I don't know how much volume they use for Boba, but for Mando, the volume helps to be able to give you some of that real world lived in instead of just blue screen stuff. Like, that's why they're able to make it feel a little bit more like the OT, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so kind of an Easter egg, but not really. But in the vision scene when he's in the tree and he sees all these red eyes in the concept art that they show later, they're supposed to be Jawas. I guess.
There's another one I've got. In the dream sequence, when he's in the Sarlacc, one of the flashes, his rangefinder is on the wrong side.
Oh yeah.
And I was debating with another friend, okay, is this in like an homage to that image in Return of the Jedi where his rangefinder's on the wrong side because they accidentally flipped the film? So is it that, or did they screw it up again?
I like that second one better.
That it's an homage?
No, that they screwed it up again.
Oh.
That's funny to me.
Maybe. I don't know. Knowing them, they might have just thrown it in there for the lulz because they kind of do that sometimes. Like, I mean, they threw Tashi Station in there. And
I didn't realize how like out in the middle of nowhere Tashi Station was. I don't know. I guess I just don't know Tatooine as well as I thought.
I mean, Cammy and Fixer are like those friends from high school that just stay where they are doing the same old shit, and meanwhile you're off to like here they are all these years later, they're still just hanging out there.
They should have shown a box of like power converters, like with pick up for Luke Skywalker. Just
I thought it was really cool that they did that though.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? So
wasn't he a fan of the biker jackets in Star Wars?
That's true, and I think, by the way, they translated it. It does say like Tatooine on it, like biker jackets have those rocker patches basically that have and it's Tatooine on it.
A little too earthy for me.
They're gonna be the new run-in of the oh my god. I can't believe I freaking forgot. But you know,
the
Camtono guys. So the next one will be all the Sons of Tatooine, I'm sure, that we're gonna see. That's gonna be the new lazy cosplay costume, right? Just get some leather vests with some of those patches. But you know what I noticed? Boba went all that time out in the desert with no Bacta.
Yeah.
And he was rocking faces. Like, he fucking wrecked everybody in that bar. In the little...
Maybe there's something that still happens. There's something like when the Tuskens... Maybe something bad happens to our, like, fun band of Tuskens. Maybe something bad happens to Boba.
Maybe having a lizard on your nose causes some problems for you.
I mean, also, just like... Hey, I'm going to get in this Bacta because I had way too much sun the last couple of years, you know?
Sure, but you know, like, but it seemed like he's really strong in the flashbacks, and now it seems like anytime he goes out, he needs to go back in the Bacta, which makes me think that something else is going on, like clone stuff, maybe. I mean, that's my ongoing theory. His clone body might be degrading a little. I don't know.
That has been my theory as well. Like, even if he's not accelerated aging, that's the reason our bodies degenerate, is because replicating cells don't replicate right every time.
Right. So I'm hoping that we get more answers on that shit soon.
I just really hope we stay in the present a bunch this episode.
Me too.
We know for sure there's still at least one more flashback coming, because it's when they go find Slave One.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's still probably a bunch coming. Yeah. I just need, like, an even split, if that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have 4 episodes left, right? 5?
Yeah.
5.
There's 7. Yeah, there's 7 episodes.
There's 7. Which means you need to get this plot in the present day moving for me at this point.
And there's still stuff from the teasers we haven't seen that are in present time. Like the meeting at the table.
Which I think is coming. I think that's coming this episode. I think he realized he's got to get all the families together against the Hutts.
There's like one where Fennec is hunting somebody in the garage underneath the palace where Slave 1 is. Like, there's a bunch of stuff we haven't seen yet from those teasers. The girl on a swoop bike.
With the robot arm. I can't believe you just noticed that today, Joe.
Oh wait, she has a robot arm?
She has a
Yeah.
robot arm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her left arm is like
Cool.
her back arm.
It's like
But-
it's like not a whole robot arm.
Not a robot arm.
It's like from the wrist, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I have a theory on it, but I think it's a bad theory, so I'm not going to say it.
You have to.
well, now you
say
have
it.
to.
No, I mean it's
Yes.
just lazy. It's just lazy theory. It's just lazy.
Do
I think she's the Tuscan chick. I think she's the warrior
Yeah.
Tuscan.
You think she's the warrior? I
She's
think
so
okay.
pale.
you don't think she's the
The
kid?
picture of her, she's like abnormally pale, like more than albino pale.
What's true?
And,
You don't think she's the kid Tuscan? You think she's the warrior?
I mean, I guess she could be the kid Tuscan, like grown up, but
It could
I
be
don't
a
know.
Tuscan.
Like,
I always got the feeling
I
Tuscans.
asked warrior Tuscan how to ride a swoop. So then later on, her showing up on a swoop bike after their gang has been like kind of defeated makes some sense to me.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be the younger one because it'd be easier for them to adapt to a non-Tuscan life, whereas one that's
That-
been in
that's
that
a good point.
life for a long time, I'd probably have a hard time.
That's a good
Part of a robot arm is she a Skywalker? Listen, not every robot arm is a Skywalker, but she is on Tatooine, so who knows? I mean, you never.
I
know.
just thought since he trained like the warrior Tuscan how to ride a swoop, maybe that would be a cool
Yeah.
down the road.
I always got the impression that Tuscans underneath the mask are not human.
So we were talking about this, I think, in our chat. They're
Yeah.
humanoid, but also, like in a lot of legends, like humans have become. There are some humans that have become Tuscans.
Anakin Solo's girlfriend was raised by Tuscans.
And
Gee.
Darth Krayt was a human who was a Tuscan, but it's because his parents were brought into the Tuscans. So he's kind of like, they're all Skywalker, no. So they were like accepted into the tribe, kind of like Boba was, right? But Boba didn't mask his head. I don't know. He's not wearing
That was
the whole thing.
yeah.
I don't know.
I could be totally off. Maybe she has nothing to do with the Tuscans. It just seems like she's so pale. It looks like a person that's been wrapped up their whole life.
So my only reason that I would doubt that that is the case is that we've heard all of the Tuscans we've met so far speak Tuscan, and I don't think humans can speak Tuscan.
I didn't speak Tuscan.
Does he?
Yeah, he speaks some Tuscan in.
He has made some of the sounds, yeah. I mean, he communicates with them mostly through,
Through the sign.
yeah, but he definitely has done a couple of the sounds.
I think his initial he did some sounds and the sign language in that episode.
Well, I mean, I think it would make sense that humans could
Yeah.
mimic some Tuscan.
I mean, Obi-Wan
Like-
could know. Actually, I
Yeah.
don't know what Obi-Wan was.
No, he did like a crate dragon.
That was what it was, a crate dragon. I was like, he made some kind of crazy noise and they ran.
So the only known there are two known humans to speak Tuscan. One is from a comic, and the other is Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember him speaking Tuscan, which I'm always curious, like how he ended up chilling with the Tuscans for long enough and never came across Boba before, or maybe it's gonna come out that Boba was fully
Hey, the
wearing a
dude
Tuscan
is
thing
still
and hanging
big.
out.
You just said this. You just said the
I
dude
know,
is
but
real
I
big.
mean, yes, it's true. There's a bunch of them. It's true. It's true. All right. Well, we'll
So-
find that out.
Humans are capable of learning it, at least in legends, but it was very difficult for humans to learn.
That would make sense.
And
sense.
we know Shriwook is a language humans can't learn, so I figured it was possible.
But Han Solo speaks some of it.
He understands it.
No, he kind of tried to speak it in the
He does
Solo
a little
movie.
of it solo.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he
I
tried.
mean, I feel like there's a difference between attempting to and being able to mimic some of the vocalizations.
Sure. It's like when I try to talk to my cat in Meow
Exactly. I can meow at Jameson. What's it actually mean?
You don't know. You don't know. All right.
There's an answer to that in our household, but it's not appropriate on the podcast.
All right. So this next episode, I'm guessing we'll see him try and unite everybody against the Hutts. More flashbacks. I mean, I still kind of want to see like how he came across Fennec and like how that kind of worked out the way they did. Like, did they know each other from before? When he found her, was that the first time they met? I would just kind of like to know like more about their relationship, I guess. So any way that they tell us that, I'm cool with. I just want to know more. Like how, because in the back of my mind, I'm still like, she's going to betray him. Like, I can't help but think that.
I wonder if, sorry, one of my thoughts, like, while all this is going on in the desert, and like they're like a half a day's walk from Anchorhead, tells the Pikes. Like, I don't know how far Jabba's palace is from that in comparison, but the fact that Slave One is just chilling at Jabba's palace and he hasn't gone to get it is like one of those things that irks me. But like, maybe he thinks someone's taken it.
I mean, he's had other concerns.
Well, I feel like initially he would have wanted to, right? But I think once he started training with them, like when he was accepted by them and it was no longer their prisoner, I think he wanted to just stay there on his own accord because he found something there he liked.
I guess we're gonna see. We're gonna see how long that lasts.
You know, he was always this loner. He couldn't trust anybody. Like, you know, everybody he trusted kind of betrayed him. Like, look at what happened with Aura back when he was a kid, for instance. Like, that kind of shit. And with the Tuskens, he finally felt like maybe he found people.
I totally get the found family part of it. Like, I totally get that part. It's just some little things, and I'm like, if Anchorhead's a day's walk, half a day's walk, like Slave One can't be that far away.
I mean,
like, I get it. Now it's the idea that he wants to stay.
Yeah.
But before that, I don't know.
But I think that's what it. Well, before that is that he was trying to escape. Remember, he ran off and they caught him. And then he was gonna do it again with the Rhodian, and he was a little bitch. And then he killed the monster, and then he was accepted, so he didn't have to fucking go anywhere.
Yeah, I guess it hasn't been that long, so maybe that's still like, maybe it's like a, hey guys, it's time for me to move on type of deal in his head, even though he has like this found, I don't know.
And
it's just like
he might have this fucking crisis.
In my head, but I can't.
How long has he been wearing his dad's armor? Like, how long was he, like, you know, this is my face. Like, he's been stripped of all that. So he was having this crisis of like, who the fuck am I? Like, who am I without my armor? It's kind of like, I think, the conflict he was going through after that humbling ass experience. So he's kind of, and he was real reliant on all his fucking shit. And him being trained by the Tuskens, he's kind of realizing that he can just be a badass without all that shit too. So,
you know, and you say that, I think we're gonna get that that's going to end up being his character arc. Towards the end is we're going to get a scene where he won't have his armor and someone's be like, well, who are you without your armor? And then he's going to wreck their shit with a stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thinking about...
I would just like to see him wreck their shit with a stick with his armor on. I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah, both would be cool.
We'll
like,
get
just
everything.
like I learned new skills that I can do outside of these other things. Like, that's cool enough. Like, let's keep the armor.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe part of the arc we've gotten from him too, where he, like, we saw him seeing Din's found family thing, and the whole situation where, like, he gets his armor back and he's like, no, this is Mandalorian armor, this is mine. Maybe he actually sees the like, he gets adopted into a found family and gets to experience that, and that really connects him back to his own culture in a way.
Yeah. This is how the argument, by the way, with my husband started. Because he's like, he walks in the living room and he says, I think I know how they're going to tie Boba back into the Mandalorian at the end and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, of course, this is going to go back to the Mandalorian at the end. I'm like, and then he started, yeah, but like, Boba was never a good guy. Like, how is he going to be a good guy now and then go back? Like, this is, I'm like, and that's how that whole fight started. But I think what's going to happen is he feels like he has to settle whatever's happening on Tatooine, and when, for the Tuskens, for whether they're still alive or not, he feels like he owes some of this to them. And then once that's done, he's going to have to go kind of settle the other part of himself, which is his father's legacy.
Mandalore. Or it's Boba knowing like he has a found family now, he's gone through that, and seeing that Din has not really. Like Din was sort of raised by these cultists, and now he's like out on his own and sort of being pulled in a different direction. And maybe it's Din pulling on his heartstrings of like, hey man, like I want to do this Mandalore thing with this chick. Can you help me? Like maybe it's some of that too. Like Boba realizing that Din needs that or wants that.
Yeah. And I mean, here's what we have for canon from Jango. Like, we know now that he was a foundling. He fought in the Civil Wars. We still have all that bullshit from the Clone Wars. Oh, God.
Found on Concord Dawn by a Jaster, someone named Jaster, presumably.
Right. Oh, and this is part of the other way of the fight, because when I was explaining to my husband, yeah, this is his arc. He needs to settle his father's legacy because his father was in the wars. And I was like, he's like, where do you get all that? And I was like, it was in the comics. He's like, do not speak this old canon to me. It no longer exists.
It does, though.
I'm like, but they put it back in. I'm like, they cherry picked some of it. Oh, Olmec. That's who I was going to fucking talk about.
Oh, that asshole.
That fucker who's like,
that
oh,
line.
That guy was never a man. Like, so basically, he like slandered Jango's name through everywhere, right? And so also, if Jango fought in the Civil Wars, if it was like what the Open Seasons comic was like, then he fought against Death Watch, which, well, we have Din who's, yeah, but also that, so Din is kind of, we don't know what kind of his watch, where they fit in, but Bo-Katan was that Death Watch back then with the Night Owls, right?
Yep.
So if there's going to be a whole picking sides thing going on, I mean, Boba's going to probably side with Din against our queen.
Your point is good, though, about that being the reason that Boba would even go back, is like trying to resolve that other half of his life with his father. Like that's a good tie-in point.
I think that's how it's going to end. I mean, because like I've always been convinced this is Mandalorian season 2.5. This is all tying into the bigger story that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And
Din's just gonna drop your dad would have helped us on him.
Your dad.
You know, or he doesn't like the fact that that the Mandalorians, his father's people, just see him as a clone and not as Jango's son and heir, basically.
There is kind of a why is a found family okay, but I'm not.
Well, let's face it. I love Bo, but she's an elitist bitch.
She's my queen.
She's still my queen.
Look at we stand Bo on this spot.
Look at this new toy I got, by the way.
Joe, you better continue our occasional
Yes, I love that. Scarab pages now to stand Bo-Katan all the time.
all the time.
Just remind people, it's a Bo-Katan stand page first and foremost.
and honestly, like I expect a heel turn from her, but then for her to die a hero.
How dare you?
I know. Heresy. Why do I say this? But I think that's what's gonna happen. But anyway, I think that's how it's all gonna fucking end. So I whatever we're gonna get in the next 5 episodes. Oh, but Dave Filoni co-wrote episode 6 with Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau wrote all of the episodes by himself, except for this one.
Usually that means that's when Dave directed.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the episode he directed, which usually when he directs it means that it's one of his...
So what that means, Nikki? That means cowboy time. That's what I mean.
Cad Bane, right?
No.
Don't get my hopes up. That's
It's
mean.
gotta
It's
be.
mean to get my hopes up.
Why wouldn't it be Cad Bane?
Why exactly, though? I mean, why would it not be Cad Bane? Because if you want to talk about, like, making peace with Boba's legacy, I feel like, or Jango's legacy, I feel like Cad Bane would be a really good way of doing that. Of just bringing back in the Fett legacy and...
Nod to the Clone Wars.
I mean, why would they bring Cad Bane back in Bad Batch for like an episode and a half. Like they teased him. They showed us that he's still alive, hanging around.
Why would they bring
Also,
Cad
he's got
Bane
beef
back
with
at all
Fennec.
when Dengar is an option?
He's got beef with Fennec now too. So it's
Yeah.
not just Boba. It's Boba and Fennec.
Yeah, and here he's
I
gonna
mean-
find them together.
It's been like 20-something years, but that's fine.
We have no evidence that Cad Bane is dead currently.
None, other than he'd probably be really fucking old. How do Duros
I want him
age?
to be. I want him to be robot-y.
What is-
Apparently, Duros live about a standard human lifespan, but that's old canon.
I want him to be like a cyborg.
I want
What's
him to be a
what's
large.
the old
potato
cowboy guy with the really distinct voice from like every commercial and movie
Oh,
and show?
Sam
man.
Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Cad Bane is just gonna be like the Sam Elliott of the Star Wars universe. At this point.
Whatever, that guy's fucking cool. That is fucking
yeah.
cool.
Hell yeah! I just met like old cowboy.
Yep. No, he's the quintessential one, man. So why not? I think there's no way that they could do a Boba focused show and not bring back Cad Bane.
I would hope. I would really love to see Cad Bane in live action for totally normal reasons. Like,
I'm just like, I really need to know. Like, I think this episode coming up is the most like, excited I've been for a show since probably finale of Mando. Like, I'm really excited for tonight's episode, but I need to know by the end of this episode where we're going in the present.
and that's really what it is. It's
I have all these ideas in my head of what they can do in the show, and like none of it's syncing up, or like they're just taking really slowly to get to any of it.
You have
Well,
to
I
think
just-
of the last two episodes as one in a way. That was the introduction. Now we're moving more into.
Well, even with that as the introduction, I can't conceive that they can get off of, like, with everything they've set up, that they can get off Tatooine and still everything be satisfying.
No.
Oh well, I mean, by episode 7 when it wraps up, I think they will.
Yes.
They've already implied that Hut Space is a place. Well, they've said Hut Space is a place, which means we may get Nar Shaddaa finally.
Oh my god.
I fucking love Nar Shaddaa. I fucking love
I would
it.
be so excited.
Because if Boba needs to leave to go hunt down the twins, they're going to be on Nal Hutta or Nar Shaddaa.
And do you know who else could be on Nar Shaddaa?
Mama. No,
Cad
I
Bane.
don't know. Who?
Hondo Onaka.
Oh, Hondo? Yeah.
Cad
Hondo.
Bane.
Cad
That's
Bane.
what-
Cad Bane,
Yeah.
Bossk, Gengar.
Yeah.
All the usual suspects.
That's a good way to start bringing them in, because I'm like, it's gonna be kind of weird if it's just like a couple
All of
episodes
these guys just come
of the
to
Hutts
Tatooine.
just, like throwing bounty hunters at Boba Fett. Like that's gonna be odd. But that's a good. And Tamwara did slip up in an interview a little bit
With the
And say-
gunship comment?
and say that it was like he said like there's a really cool scene where all of us are on a gunship, and Ming-Na Wen's like shut.
Yeah, and she's like, nope, nope, nope.
Stop. Like she has to stop him, and like the interviewer is just like sitting there like, oh god, what do I do now? And like,
But
I
I
don't
think he
think
might have meant
Slave
Slave
One.
1. You don't think he meant
don't
Slave 1?
no, I don't.
Slave 1's a gunship.
I think he would
I
have
don't
called it
think
Boba's ship or
There
something
you
like
go.
that.
That's the tell.
Yes, but also he didn't refer to it as Boba's ship when he was talking about his interview about that episode on The Mandalorian where he decided to take his helmet off. He called it just the starship.
I don't know. I feel like Ming-Na Wen's reaction to it too is kind of telling.
He said that there are going to be some fucking surprises of who shows up. So there's
Let's get
definitely
to
more
it.
coming. There is
Let's
more
get
coming.
Do it.
So, I mean, there's a whole litany of people who could show up. All the fucking bounty hunters. I mean, Cad Bane, who I don't put in the usual suspects. Because when I think the usual suspects, I think of the lineup on the fucking Imperial Cruiser in Empire. That's the usual suspects to me. Cad Bane. We can still see Crimson Dawn because they already brought the Pikes in. So I feel like having more syndicates around would make sense.
Yeah, purposeful.
Rada the Hutt. Rada the Hutt can still show up.
That's exactly who should show up. I don't give a shit about Jabba's niece and nephew or cousins or whatever
His
they are.
cousins.
Where is Rada? He
Rada's the heir. Rada's the true
Rada
heir.
is Jabba's heir.
Someone said until they tell me otherwise, these huts are named Karen and Cletus.
That's true. Kier, so if Crimson Dawn shows up, I'm sure we could still get Kier. I think they still want to fucking use her. We could get.
There's so much they can get to. Let's fucking get to it, damn it.
Clones. We could see some of the fucking clones too, because especially if he's having a clone issue, he might have to find more clones. So we could see. I don't know if we would see the Bad Batch, but maybe Rex.
Stacey's been on Reddit too much, y'all.
Wait, what?
Stacey's been on Reddit too much, y'all.
No, I haven't been on Reddit. This is just me. Like, look, I need to make my conspiracy board.
She's galaxy braining right now.
No, I'm doing that fucking GIF that I always do. That's basically.
I mean, you've got Tamara. If you're gonna film clone scenes, now's the time to do it.
I mean, for a while he had that fucking beard going.
We know Rex is still alive.
I mean, I think we'll see Rex in the Ahsoka show, no doubt. So. And we might see a de-aged Cody. So
are you saying Cody. That Tem is going to wind up being the live-action version of D. Bradley Baker, the hardest working man in Star Wars?
I mean, why the fuck wouldn't he be? Why the fuck would he not be?
Cody is absolutely hunting fucking Obi-Wan in that show. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
And sad.
Because he's definitely going to get murdered. But, oh well. Yeah, we could see all sorts of fucking shit in this show. It's coming. I'm fucking psyched. I'm really psyched for tomorrow. Like I will go to bed right now just so I can wake up and be like, it's time.
I am gonna have a short night of work, and I am electing to still be team no sleep. I have decided. Otherwise, I won't see it till like midday tomorrow. I don't want to wait.
That must be nice to have the choice.
Yeah.
Ish. I'm gonna be a zombie tomorrow, and my child can't go to school because of COVID. So he doesn't have COVID. The school's not allowing him to come. Somebody else did. So
fun stuff is. So yeah, I don't know. There's all sorts of cool shit that can happen, and maybe after this next episode, they'll finally exhaust all the trailer footage. I don't know.
This is why I don't watch trailers. This is why. Y'all are just here on the edge of your seats waiting for the trailer shit.
Robert Rodriguez was so specific. Oh,
I know.
They lie.
Showed you in the trailers is in the first half of the first episode. You lied, motherfucker. You lied.
They're liars. It's their job to lie.
I know. I don't know why we believe
They're
them anymore.
Fiction writers.
Oh, and I definitely think we're gonna see Din on the back end, one way or another, because I think they're gonna tie at the very end of this show. They will tie it back to the upcoming Mandalorian season. Then something will happen that way. I don't know. Oh, do you think we'd ever see him fucking go after like a Jodo cast imposter type scenario?
Does Omega show up?
Not in this show, but I would love to see him do that.
That would be a neat little twist.
Where's Omega?
Where is Omega?
When is Bad Batch season 2?
Sometime this year.
Do we have a date?
We were supposed to know, but Star Wars pulled out of Disney Plus Day for no reason. Like,
we're supposed to know, but Star Wars doesn't know how to market.
That's right.
We don't know shit all about anything other than Kenobi, I think, is next. Bad Batch will probably be. I heard they suspect that Kenobi will end on May the 4th and Bad Batch will start on May the 4th. No.
I think the more likely chance is that Kenobi debuts on May the 4th.
Okay. Maybe Bad Batch ends on May the 4th. I think it could be next.
Well, they won't start marketing it until April then.
Yeah. Is there a Marvel show that comes out after BOBA in the spring?
No.
They haven't announced the dates for it, I don't think.
The next Marvel thing we get is Doctor Strange.
That's the only firm
They've
date
got
we
4
have.
or 5 shows that are slated for this year, but I don't think any of them start in the spring. Then that might be the case. Kenobi might start pretty quickly after this. And they already know they don't have to market it to you. This is Kenobi.
Yeah, I know. It's just gonna...
Don't make excuses for them.
Oh, I know.
So we'll find out. I mean, I expect once we get like towards the end of this show, they will announce what's gonna come next and when, because we know they're just terrified of marketing two things at the same time.
Children, tiny brains, and we can only handle one thing at a time.
I want to show you guys something before we wrap everything up, and hopefully I don't fucking lose my shit. I've lost my shit over this thing like 3 times already, so maybe by now I've gotten it out of my system. But anyway, a while ago, because I am rampant consumer, I am the person that Star Wars knows will just throw money at every stupid thing that I see that they put out. I ordered this book that I saw because I thought it would be cute for my kids. I thought it was like a kid's book, right? It was called The Tiny Book of Grogu. So I thought it was like this little book for Grogu, right? I want to show you The Tiny Book of Grogu. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm scared somehow.
I can't see
Excited
it.
and scared.
Are you just gonna put a picture up on the thing?
Is this fucking small? Is this fucking small?
What is that?
It's a tiny book of Grogu.
What do the words say?
It's just a tiny book. Every time I look at it, I like lose my shit. But look, it's just little pictures.
Right now, let's do this.
What does it say? Are there words?
It's like quotes from the show and pictures.
It's fantastic.
It's like
God, I wish I knew about this before. I would have totally made this an elf on the shelf thing.
and it's just like I like when it came in the mail. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I open it. I'm like, wait, it's really it is tiny.
Knowing Amazon, it came in a box that was fucking.
It did. It was in a big ass.
I don't know how that company makes money.
I thought, like, for real, like, you know how those little kids like books?
Yeah,
are,
you like a
right?
little golden book.
Right. I thought it was gonna be that, but now I have this tiny ass little fucking book of Grogu, and my husband had it on his bookshelf basically every
You should
time.
get like 20 of those and hand them out like a missionary at places.
And it came in this little sleeve, and it's just a little fucking book. Okay.
You
Just
gotta
get a
put
bunch
it on
of
the
them.
bookcase, just like next to
Well, that's
everything
what
else.
It was. I put it on
Oh,
my husband's bookshelf so I didn't lose it. But then every time I saw it, I would just lose my shit.
I wish, Steve, you remember when Star Wars Reads Day was a troop at Barnes & Noble?
Yeah.
I wish that was a thing, because now I would just take that tiny book with me and pull it out and read it.
Oh my god. Yeah. So
Just pull it out of one of my belt pouches.
like this thing would fit like in
That's not
any. I mean, it's so small.
If that's not in one of your pouches next week for the Heat Troop, I don't know what you're doing.
I
Like,
will bring it. I will bring it. And like, look, it looks like I have extremely small hands, people. Okay, and
We need a banana.
When you
It's
pulled
like
it out, I almost made a joke about it being a book to
All right,
scale.
well, here's a phone. Here's a phone.
it looks like it's almost like the size of a lighter, like a bit.
It is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it looks like a Zippo.
It's a Zippo
Or a
lighter
Zippo,
size.
Zippo.
It is so small. But
Hmm.
I'm
That's
the type
amazing.
of person that will fucking buy shit like this. So there it is. So anyway. All right. Well, do we have any last minute predictions for tomorrow?
Nobody's been telling on themselves this week. But listen, stop thirsting over Black Chrysanthemum, whatever his name is.
So many people
Stop
are
it.
finding out they've got a freaking furry or
It's
monster
What
kink
is happening?
because of Star Wars.
Stop it, people.
I mean, I don't know
Don't
if I
let-
prefer.
I don't think that's
We
new.
don't. We don't kink shame.
Yes, we do.
Is Thirsty
We don't.
This one
Wookiee
we do.
worse than Thirsty Gamorrean? Worse than Thirsty Tusken? Every week it's a new
Okay.
thirst.
So
Okay,
what you're telling me is this is just thirst
Maybe
Star Wars.
maybe I'm telling on myself, but I get the Tusken thirst. Like I don't share it,
I'm not
but
shocked
I
by that.
get it.
I mean, that
Well,
one.
Steve, what are my 2 things that I'm attracted to in fictional characters?
like cloaks and robes and shit like that,
Mhm.
and masks.
Because I like the concept of people.
I mean, the Tuscan warrior chick is just a fucking.
Yeah.
I love her. Her body language is like dead on, amazing. So
That's the
I get
reason you
that.
married the first Mandalorian you met.
Yeah. Comma
I love
and helmet.
I understand where that comes from. I have a mask thing with characters like Plo Koon, Bane.
He really he's got a thing for Plo Koon and Bane
His
in the
Reaper
same way Nikki does.
their masks. No, it's
Yeah,
different.
I
Nikki's
just
is like
realized.
thoughtful, and she likes the idea of the person underneath, and mine's just like, I like masks.
Oh no, it's because I'm intimidated by faces. Faces are too hard for me, so I like the characters that don't
The
have
mask
them.
doesn't change. It's like clothing for your face.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gotcha.
It's why I've been having a great
Yeah, that's-
time recognizing people in this pandemic.
Is it weird to me that the Tuscans' faces don't change, but I find them very expressive? Maybe
No, I think
that's
it's
what I like
great
about them.
great character design and great acting.
Yeah, I think their body language is just awesome. Like, I love how they do that. So that's fucking cool. Yeah, I guess we'll fucking find out. But yeah, Thirsty Boba Twitter is every Wednesday. It's like, what are people thirsting for now? So.
I mean,
Next week it's gonna be Dengar's potato-y self.
I mean, how fucked up is he gonna be? Are we gonna see him like where he looked like in Return of the
Full
Jedi? Are we gonna
Santorin.
see him like?
what didn't he just start a comic run this week?
Well,
Or
He's
was
a-
that a
No, I think is he in War of the Bounty Hunters though?
he is in War of the Bounty Hunters, but that's all takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So
It really killed my whole like make fun of Dengar vibe, like the toilet paper Mando. Like it really killed it when I found out that George Lucas meant for it to be more like a turban, like a
not just fucking bandages.
like made me feel bad. I was like, fuck. Me and Robot Chicken over there like, oh, the toilet paper man or the toilet paper man. Oh, George Lucas meant this to be like a thing for Middle Eastern culture, and I'm like, oh fuck me. Like now I feel like an asshole.
He could have made it look a little better. To be fair, I mean, let's be honest here.
I feel like the only time it's really looked like any kind of Middle Eastern head wrap is in Rebels.
Nah, that's true. Oh, you know what's gonna happen? The second we bet Bosk, it's gonna be Bosk Thirst Twitter and
I mean
TikTok.
that I understand at
That's
least.
gonna happen 100%. So
I don't know. Maybe it's just
weird fetish Twitter, TikTok. Yeah.
I know Boss looks better than those other Trandosans.
He's gonna look just like we remember him.
Better.
I mean, I don't think they would
Oh,
change
something.
him. They wouldn't
I-
change him.
I feel like the Trandoshans we saw in Book of Boba weren't bad looking.
they're
No,
just
they-
different.
They look
In
more
Man-
bug-eyed.
In
weird.
Mando, they looked weird.
They look
See, I mean,
realistic.
Like they look like a different subspecies. But these ones in Boba look like the bad puppets from Loki, man.
I don't really agree.
These guys
Um,
look like, okay, so if you have the ones in Mando that were like hyper realistic, and then you have Bosk as the standard, the ones in this one look like these were the mountain folk hillbilly Trandoshans.
I feel like the ones in Mando looked more like Sid
Yeah,
from Bad
that's
Batch.
true. Do you remember
Alright.
the one from Clone Wars that was real tiny and he bossed everybody around?
Doesn't he kidnap Ahsoka at one point?
Man, he kidnapped a lot of people. I don't know. He had them all on his moving like thing, right? He had like a moving hunter lodge, right? And he was tiny, or was he on the mining? I don't know.
All right, are we
Yeah, we're
good
wrapping
to-
up.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up. All right. Any last minute, or is that
Nope.
all of it? All right, guys. Then I
Think we're
guess
good.
we will see everybody after episode 3.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Check us out.
Later,
Yeah.
guys.
See y'all.
Bye.